My name is Paul Mello. I'm the Director of Product Management for Vegas.com. I've been there for a while, I think since before the internet. No, not quite. Since I started there, Vegas.com's focus has been to make traveling to Vegas as easy as possible. This can be a fairly complicated city. There's a lot to do here, and people usually don't have a whole lot of time, so they don't want to spend a lot of time waiting in lines or trying to figure out how to plan their next night. They want to spend a lot of time having a good time. And I hope are you guys having a good time in Vegas, by the way? I hope. Sort of? All right, good. Good, it's an awesome city. I moved here in '99. When I started at Vegas.com, there were about 11 people. 6 months ago, I started doing something crazy. Our company moved from the outskirts of Vegas right to near the Strip, and I decided I would start to ride my bike to Vegas. So today I actually drove in, which was kind of crazy because I realized how terrible a driver I've become. And that picture, let me go back to that. This goofy-looking picture of me is what I look like when it's 112 degrees riding back from work from my office. So it's form definitely follows function there. Vegas.com. So Vegas.com, we are a travel experience company. We sell hotel rooms, but really we sell Vegas. So shows, tours, nightclub passes, and we provide a ton of information about Vegas. We've been doing it for years. All of us that work here live here. If you call our call center, you're talking to somebody that's actually in Vegas, that's actually looking at the Strip, which is really cool. But you know, at 200 people, we're a small company, and we compete with some of the largest companies in the world, other online travel agencies, other ticketing agencies. So you have to be a bit nimble to do that. I realize you're in Vegas, and so it's not just about the conference. So I brought a little gift, a pretty good one, I think. We don't usually have deals this good. So on Vegas.com, if you enter promo code FUSION, if you're staying the weekend, hopefully some of you are, you can book a show or a hotel, or not a hotel, you're probably already here, a show or a tour, you'll save 15%. Just plug in promo code FUSION to into either our iOS app or Android app, our mobile site, or our desktop site. Okay, now what I've come to talk about, which is Fusion and sort of how we discover the need for it and how we implement it. So we had a mobile site before 2014, but it wasn't really our focus. There wasn't a huge travel or shift in traffic yet. And it happened pretty quickly, and we had to be pretty nimble about fixing our mobile site, which basically kind of looked like, well, not a very good mobile site. So I was lucky enough to get to manage the Agile team, or product manage the Agile team that worked on that campaign. And so, we did a bunch of things. We cut down billing fields. We added buy buttons. We made sure that usability was as slick as it could be for the internet. But we kind of missed a big piece in what we did. We didn't realize it at the time because we're a travel company, and travel is based a lot on date-based search. Most OTAs that you go to, their sites, you see big widgets where you plug in your dates. And you do with us as well, and that's a majority of how people do their searching. But there are people who know what they want. And the problem with a date-based search for people that know what they want is they have to search for the dates. They have to scroll down to find their thing. So let's say they want to go to a Zumanity show. So really how they were using our mobile site is they would search for their dates, they would do an alpha sort, and they would scroll down until they found their thing. And hopefully they did find their thing. But that's not a really good way to do business. It's not easy for the user, so we were like, okay, we got to do something about this. We had a unique problem as well because we don't just sell hotels, we sell shows and stuff like that. So and we have a decent amount of return customers. So we wanted to make them as happy and make that transaction as easy to get to as possible. And we wanted to answer this guy's question, which is, well, we didn't want to answer it, we wanted to solve the problem. We had a solution on our desktop site, but when I had the Agile team, the devs on our Agile team, it was 4 folks, me, a back-end dev, a front-end dev, QA person. I said, can we use the solution that we have, or that we're using on desktop? We knew it wasn't great, but we were moving quickly and we wanted to get something done really fast. And they basically said, well, not if you want to get something done really fast. And probably not for what you want, because the instructions or the ask I had of the team was, this has to be just as easy and intuitive as going to like a major retail site. Because we know that people don't come to Vegas all the time, so we don't want them to have to relearn how to use a site and how to use search. And they already have expectations for how that stuff should work on some of these major retail sites. So we wanted to make sure we were doing the exact same thing, as good or better. It had to be easy, it had to be intuitive, and then on the back end, it had to match some business, or it had to work with some business rules, because we do have date-based inventory. So sometimes the show is sold out, and certainly when people are searching for things, we want them to find things that they're going to be able to consume. So it had to be, and it had to learn over time too. I mean, the big thing here is that for Vegas, one of the things that, one of the challenges we have is that folks who are in town having a really good time may have some slightly impaired cognitive abilities with spelling. I don't know if you've experienced any of this, but it's a fun town, and sometimes you're not your spelling best. So we wanted to make sure that, and there's some really hard things to spell, and I'll get to that in a second. I had mentioned this. We had been using a desktop solution. So we knew we needed something different. So my devs had mentioned, hey, there's this solar thing. We should really look at it. That's what a lot of the big guys are using. Let's check it out. So we did a Google search. It's a little more complicated than this, but we did a Google search. That's how we initially found Lucidworks and the Fusion solution. And it seemed to check all the boxes. And then, there we go. And then about 6 weeks later, we actually were able to implement and roll out to customers. So it didn't take too long. Remember, this is a small team doing a bunch of other things too. So I think we were working on the early part of Mobilegeddon as well, where we had to take, I think we had something like 60,000 pages that we were trying to make mobile friendly. So this was in the middle of all of that. And 6 weeks later, we had a solution. It was really fast. It was hooked up to our analytics, so we could tell, just by looking at analytics, that this thing was learning. As people were typing in different spellings, as they were looking for different products, we saw that they were finding them. We put in tracking so we could tell exactly where the result was showing up. We really saw this thing learning as it was going. And it happened pretty fast. And of course, it factored in business rules, which were super, super important to us. It also made this guy super happy. That's not a real customer, by the way. His name is Elliot. He works on my team, so he's famous now. Let's see. So I was just going to show you some of the things that people are looking at or typing in when they go to Vegas. And sort of how this is basically all I did is a few days ago, I just started typing. I went to our analytics. I looked at some of the fun terms that people were typing in to find things like Celine Dion and Cirque du Soleil, which can be very interesting. And I just recorded the screen for a while. So if we can roll that. So this is somebody looking for Celine, typing in S-E-E or S-E-L-E-E-N and finding it very quickly. So that was really nice. This is saline, which is a popular eye solution, but got them to the right place, which is good. Cirque with an S, they found it. You'll notice that also Circus Circus is on top. People actually search for Circus Circus that way as well. Again, or they search for Circus Circus this way. Let's see. I forgot the next one. Let's see. Oh, Soleil, S-O-L-A-Y. This was actually the #3 misspelled Cirque du Soleil term. So, people are having fun out there. And then Cirk, S-I-R-K, and they got what they wanted. I think that's it. Okay, so I guess the other main thing here is that obviously we're doing this stuff to make it easier for our customers, but my job is to help the bottom line of the company as well. And even though site search is a fairly small piece of our audience, most people are going through date search, it's a pretty important piece. It's less than 4% of total users. It's a little bit higher on mobile, just slightly lower on desktop. But it's, depending on the day of week and the device, it can be up to 18 to 13% of total transactions, which if you think about it is kind of crazy for an industry that has been almost purely based on date-based search, that there is this much need for a search product. And in fact, it took me a little convincing at the time with our executive team to sort of do this. We didn't stop with search with Fusion. We started to play around with it. The indexing was very fast. The results were very fast. We recently took our mobile site, which this is not a picture of, but we took our mobile site and we took our whole activity path and we moved it into React. What we found, so actually I'm going to slide ahead. Let me go back. The very next thing is we replaced our desktop search. We had a search appliance there, and as soon as we saw the results, which we A/B tested, by the way, as soon as we saw the results on mobile, we were like, OK, we got to change what we're doing on desktop. And we did. We also tested that against what we were currently showing, and it did very well. All right, now to the fun stuff. So what we found is we were querying the Fusion index, or as we had sort of a speed problem to solve on our site, or if we needed to get to market fast with something, we started using React results for all kinds of things, like delivering content for SEO-friendly pages. So we did that for our landing pages. And what's really interesting is we started actually using it for date-based search results. Because we had, when people do a show search, we actually default them to a certain amount of days. And we were like, we really should find a really quick way to cache this stuff. We need to move on to other things. But if we could do this really quickly, and as the devs looked at it, they were like, OK, we could use Fusion to do this as well. So we did. And we're currently exploring even more ways to use Fusion. It's interesting, and the thing that I always tell people when they ask me about it is I was like, we don't have too many, our devs like to build their own stuff. They like to make things, which makes sense. But it's, anytime we have a speed-related issue where we want to get something to market quick, what I found as I went out to my Agile team is that they were like, oh, well, let's use Fusion for now, and we'll figure it out later. Which I think says a lot about the product. All right, I think I ran a little quick, but so for that reason, I wanted to say to the Lucidworks folks out there, thank you. You've made a great product. It's really improved over time, which is nice. The UI, machine learning, it keeps us always interested in looking into the new features. This new feature set. It looks really impressive, so we can't wait to start using some of that. By the way, if you're a customer and you're looking to, if you just want to talk to me about how we did it and why we did it and maybe what we did, please reach out to me. My name is Paul Mello, again. My email is paul@vegas.com. I don't really have I have a Twitter account, but don't go there. And that's it. Thank you very much.